Hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of American Leaders Through Gastronomy. There were many great leaders in American history, but a question to ask is what made them so successful? And that's a story I'm here to tell you today. Using the inspiration behind the book, American History Through a Whiskey Glass, it's my intention and hope that you can experience and unlock the magic of American history through gastronomy using recipes expertly chosen by Harris Cooper in this amazing read, selecting a nice glass of your findings with your favorite American dishes. With that said, let's begin. America's deep history with alcohol consumption as an interactive phenomena, or even used as a political strategy, began a very long time ago. In fact, it goes all the way back, at the very beginnings of the foundings of our country. And now we begin a new story, a new America through gastronomy. You're watching American Leaders Through Gastronomy. Once upon a time, a long time ago, before Britney Spears, there were the very first successful English settlers of North America. And what did they drink? Coffee. No, beer. Lots and lots of beer. Which begs the question, how do you fashion trustworthy history when many of the people recounting those events were in fact inebriated, or breaking the law when the events occurred, or when history is conveyed on recipe cards shared by friends, but tinkered by each at the bar? A drastically important question to ask is, what is the lens that we see and understand our own history through? And the answer is, through many people who were inebriated. According to Harris Cooper, the first successful English settlers of North America, the Pilgrims on the Mayflower, brought on board with them 42 tons of beer and 14 tons of water. The voyagers drank beer in impressive amounts because it was safer to drink than water, which would grow algae on the ship. Regardless, the Mayflower was aiming for Virginia but ended up in New England. And while some say it was bad weather, others say they needed a designated driver. Once on land, the settlers brewed beer, brandy from peaches, rum from molasses, and hard apple cider. When the colonists made whiskey, it would most often have been made from rye. Rye is a grain related to barley, the grain of choice back in their land of origin. It was also plentiful in the colonies because it is a hardy grain that can be grown in relatively poor soil. Following the first successful English settlers of North America, the heritage of whiskey distilling in the New World began in earnest when large numbers of immigrants from Ireland came in the mid-1700s. About half came from Ulster, and they were called the Scots-Irish. More relevantly, the Scots-Irish brought with them their distilling experience, and because grapes for wine were hard to come by in Scotland and in Ireland, using barley to make beer whiskey was the way to go, and in their new country, corn replaced barley. In light of this phenomena, a perhaps interesting question to ask is, what does the whiskey taste like in the times of the first English settlers, and especially to the Scots-Irish? In the words of Harris Cooper, of course the precise taste of the first whiskey distilled in the 1600s would be extremely hard to reproduce today, but credit must be given to the James E. Pepper Distilling Company, originating with George Thorpe, with a reputation of being the first distiller of corn whiskey. That said, the James E. Pepper Distilling Company made an attempt to use original recipes and distilling techniques, creating a new type of whiskey, using a recipe that dates back to the Revolutionary War. It offers straight 1776 straight rye whiskey. The distillery is in Lexington, Kentucky, so this whiskey won't have that East Coast flavor of Thorpe's whiskey. Quoted by Harris Cooper, in 2016, James E. Pepper 1776 straight rye whiskey won the San Francisco World Spirits Competition gold medal. Today, the distillery site on Glens Creek is a National Historic Landmark. It is home to the Woodford Reserve Distillery. But we have one more question to ask in light of these American leaders through gastronomy. And that question is, what was dinner like during colonial times? At the dinner table in Virginia with George Thorpe. Cooks in colonial times naturally relied on recipes brought with them from England or found in imported English cookbooks. But there was a problem. The foodstuffs available in North America were not the same as those found in English cookbooks, but that's why it was a major phenomenon when the first American cookbook appeared in 1796. The use of corn in cookbooks was a new phenomenon as well. The first book, American Cookery, also contains the first recipes for pumpkin and squash pudding. In fact, it was such a success, a second edition appeared in the 1800s. In the words of Harris Cooper, if you would like to start your meal with a taste of something delicious, try a lobster appetizer. When the European settlers reached North America, lobsters were everywhere on shore. Being plenty in food, lobsters became a major food source and gave itself the title of the poor man's protein. Quoted from Harris Cooper, the most authentic lobster recipes from colonial times would be the simplest. Just boil or throw them on a fire and serve them as a small appetizer bite with lemon and butter on top. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of American Leaders Through Gastronomy. And don't forget to join us next time for our next episode, Who Taught Jack Daniels to Make Whiskey?